Okay, we're doing a thing. Great. We made it happen. Oh, okay. We're live. We did a thing. We made it happen somehow. Sorry I'm late. I am here though. We are here. We are live. We are on a schedule of some sort. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate your patience with me and you're just hanging out with me in general. I have been taking a little break from teaching these couple weeks to catch up on my own music, which feels really great. Making a lot of good music right now, and I'm really excited to share about it in the next season. Probably late summer, early fall. I will have a lot more music coming up, but I do have a song coming out April 11th, which is really exciting. It's a cover of Just the Two of Us that I did with Music Man Adam. I'll share about it. Uh, but yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's like a chill ambient EDM cover of Just the Two of Us by Bill Withers. So that's really exciting. I have also been, since last week when I was talking about overwhelm, I've been trying to take more time for myself, which is another reason why I took these 2 weeks off of teaching, which my nervous system really needs. So I've taken half days and a couple mostly full days of not trying to put deadlines on myself and going outside and doing yoga and resting and listening to music and talking to friends, family, and that feels really good. So if you're a person like me who's a workaholic and you are taking on more stuff because it makes you feel enough or fulfilled, just remember that all of the things will wait and you do better work with your nervous system not overloaded. I'm sure you know this, but this is what I've been having to tell myself a lot lately. Like, I do better work when I am rested. I'm a better teacher. I'm a better friend. I'm a better partner when I have time to turn my brain off and to turn my whole perception of things around, right? So this is a huge part of what I teach as well. Like, it's not just about hustling and taking more technique classes and making sure that you are forcing yourself to practice for an hour every day. Like, that's not the vibe, right? It's not the most helpful, especially if you're a person who is already overstimulated, like most of us are. The vibe is to get less stimulated, or at least give yourself time to process what is happening, right? So as a singer, when I'm learning a new song, I give myself time, like a week or two ahead of when I have to sing it, at least. For most of us, we're going to need 3 or 4 weeks to really let it sink in. But instead of how I used to do it, which was like wait till like the 2 days before and then practice it all at once and then hurt myself, like really over sing and really over push when I haven't been belting for weeks, and then all of a sudden I belt in the like 2 days before I perform. Old patterns, right? And also the perfectionist in me likes to procrastinate and then overdo. That's a pattern I don't know if some of you also have. But we, instead of forcing ourselves to do so much heavy work, we spread it out over time, right? So a couple weeks before I start learning a song, and then I work on the lyrics, and then I work on the melody, or vice versa. And then I work on how I want to add my style into it. And any big problem areas, struggle moments, big belty notes, big runs, I make sure and them a whole lot so that my nervous system doesn't get overwhelmed with having to just sing the song over and over again and learn all the lyrics and melody and stylistic stuff all at the same time, you know? So that's a big piece of it. Making sure you are working with your nervous system and not against it. Like I was saying, like you have to give yourself time to process things, right? So yes, I could probably memorize a song. I could probably learn the melody. I could probably add the stylistic stuff on within 48 hours. I've done that before. However, is it the most helpful way to do it? Is it the most safe way to do it for your body and your nervous system? Probably not. Oh no, my Instagram is doing the poor connection thing again. Why? I don't know why the Wi-Fi is not doing well up here lately. It's very strange. Well, I might have to repost this again like I did a couple times ago. Hopefully it's okay. I don't know why my computer's on Wi-Fi, but my phone is not. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, processing time. When you're learning anything new, if you're a teacher, you know this, right? You have to bring things back to focus many times for any student to learn anything. And we have to treat ourselves as our own student most of the time, especially when you don't have a vocal coach, right? If you're just learning on your own time, watching YouTube videos and stuff, like you have to treat yourself like the student. And you wouldn't go to like an 8-year-old and be like, we just talked about this 5 minutes ago, take a test on it, right? Not really going to process very well or fully. They're going to be like, oh, I can remember a quarter of it, but not the rest of it. It hasn't really sunk in yet, right? So we have to treat ourselves like that, like an 8-year-old student. Honestly, most of the time, we over pressure ourselves as adults, and we're like, oh, why aren't I better at this already, right? Why haven't I got this? Why haven't I learned it fully? When we wouldn't do that to a kid, right? So treat yourself as a child, a smart child, but a child nonetheless, right? You have to give yourself time to practice, and you have to give yourself time to process, and you have to give yourself time to play with it, right? That's why if you've ever been a part of my 5-5-5 practice challenge, it's a concept that I bring up with all my students. Like, it's important to know your patterns, but also here's something that we don't think about is like, we don't give ourselves the time to fully settle in when we're learning a song, right? We don't give ourselves time to isolate the struggle parts. We don't give ourselves time to just be in the world of the song because we think that we have to just go faster and learn it and be perfect at it already, you know? Same with anything. Like I was saying, I needed a break from my usual schedule so that I could really sink in and settle in and live in the world of my music, because when I'm just doing it for an hour here and there, it doesn't feel as good, right? So I'm living in the world of my music for these couple of weeks, and I'm finishing songs from a calmer place, from a more integrated place, from a more intuitive place, because I'm not thinking about 100 things at the same time. Same thing when you're learning a song. It's important to remind yourself that like you are not just a sponge, you are human, and it takes reorienting yourself many times towards new information to create that new pattern, that new pathway, right? It really does make a difference when you give yourself space in between practice sessions. It makes a difference when you don't force yourself to do something for an hour or two at a time, because that's just a little bit overdoing sometimes, right? So we have to give ourselves space. We have to give your nervous system what it wants, which is processing time, which is time to recover. If you're working on a particularly hard thing, that can kind of put you into a fight or flight moment when you are getting frustrated, right? Your nervous system, you start to sweat more, you start to get angry, you start to like tighten up more. That's how you know that you maybe have hit your limit for the day and we need to recover, right? It's not a problem. It's like I say all the time, this is not something to be ashamed of. This is your natural nervous system patterning. It's how it works. It's how this hardware was installed in you, right? But if you get to that frustrated place and start to notice all the signs, the biological signs of being in fight or flight, you get frustrated, you start to just let that gremlin fully in and give yourself the business and being like, hey, you suck, what's wrong with you, why don't you know this better by now? We really have to give ourselves some slack and some grace around it, because we are human, right? When your brain is not a machine, it can't just immediately learn something and get it perfect forever. We can't expect that of ourselves. It's not fair, and it's not a good mechanism for growth. So, got to give yourself the space in between, the silent moments when you're not even singing, when you're not even thinking about singing. Your brain is doing all this processing in the back end, and we have to let ourselves do that. So when you're learning a new thing, a new song, a new skill, especially when it comes to singing, like, give your brain some space and give your body some space, because your vocal mechanism needs space too. It only has a vocal budget of a certain amount of singing every day, and then we have to recover and come back the next day when our vocal dollars have been replenished, and lean in from there and see where that gets you. So that's a very important thing. A lot of people just okay, yes, adults are the worst at this. Like, we come to our vocal lesson and then we don't sing at all, we don't practice, and then we're like, oh no, I have a voice lesson tomorrow, I better sing all the things that I was going to do this week on this one day or like in the half an hour before your lesson, and then you have overspent your vocal budget, right? And then things start going downhill faster than you would want to because you overdid it, right? You used your mechanism too much. You pushed too hard. You didn't warm up enough. You didn't give yourself time in the middle to process. And so you have not felt the growth that you wanted in the last week. I hear you. It's me too. I'm calling myself out here. We're on the same page. Let me know if this is you. And if you don't have a coach, it's even harder because you don't have that accountability to keep yourself going and to keep yourself practicing, and you don't have like assignments to work on specifically. So that's why I say we have to treat ourselves like our own student, like a kid, right? Give yourself a little bite-sized thing to work on before next week. Give yourself a deadline, put it in your freaking calendar, right? Be your own vocal coach. But don't force yourself to do so many things in such a short time. And make sure you give yourself the space in between practice sessions so that your body can recalibrate to this new feeling, right? If you're singing higher notes than you've ever sang before, you've just stretched your vocal folds thinner, tighter, and longer than they usually are. And that takes some recovery, right? Just like when you go to the gym, you're literally breaking down your muscle when you're lifting weights so that it can recover stronger later. Similar thing here, there's little teeny muscles. So if you're stretching your range, for example, or trying to belt, which takes muscle, you do have to give yourself recovery time. You can't just learn it like times tables. It's not just a mental thing, it is a physical thing as well. We are the only instrument that is in the body. So if your body is feeling some type of way, your voice is going to feel that type of way too. If your voice is going to be tired, if you're dehydrated, your voice is going to be dehydrated. If you are feeling tense, your voice is going to be tense. So keep all this in mind. This should be relieving, hopefully, to give yourself more time and more space but come back more often, right? So all this to say is like, don't give yourself 5 days in between. Give yourself 1 day in between. Do a half an hour session of practice. Wait 24 hours, do another half an hour, or do an hour and then wait a day and then come back the day after that. Whatever your body needs, wherever your experience level and your skill set is at, take that in consideration. But processing time is necessary, recovery time is necessary. And I'm saying this to myself as always, because we all need it. Yeah, let me know if you're working on anything in particular, or if this is the thing you need to hear this week. Put an emoji in the chat, like a star emoji or something. If this is yeah, I'm always here. Let me know. You can always request future topics in the comments too. You're always welcome to do that. Always happy to address what you guys want to address, because I will just talk about what's going on in my life and my students, but I want to know what you want to hear. So that was the idea for this week, is like, make sure you're giving yourself space, silence in between, but don't abandon the prospect of coming back to it. So more often, more recovery time in between. I guess practice that comes more often with a little bit of recovery time in between is way more effective than with a lot of recovery time in between. You know what I mean? Hope that makes sense. So you practice for half an hour every day, it'll usually go better for you than if you practice for 2 hours every 5 days, right? So we're working it out. Totally cool. Yes, wherever you are is great. So yeah, that was the thing for this week. What else did I have to say? Oh, the 5-5-5 practice. I didn't actually explain that. So usually what I would recommend with all of this in mind is 5 minutes, 3 times. You can stretch it out if you want to, put it all in 15 minutes, that's great. First 5 minutes is a warm-up. If you are working on something specific in a song, if you're working on a big belty note, for example, you want to have that warm-up focused around that skill, right? So a full warm-up is great, 15-minute warm-up is great, but you don't always need that full range of practice, right? I would recommend within that 5 minutes, do a couple big stretches so you get your whole vocal fold movement and capacity stretched out. So it may be some big sirens like woo, or like the 3 levels one, right? Ooh, those are really good. Or some lip trills on some like octaves or double octaves, like or that's really good to start with, especially because it's gentle on your actual vocal folds, full singing. And then with the rest of the 5 minutes, I would recommend doing a specific warm-up that focuses on the skill that you're working on. So for example, if you're doing big belty ones, I would do some yum yum yums. Yum, 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 and try and keep that chest voice up higher and higher and higher until you feel like, oh, I've stretched too much. And then flip into your head voice and then come back down into your chest voice within those 5 notes. Those are in my warm-ups. If you have them, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I think you can get them. I'm pretty sure they're still in my bio. So yeah, that's the first 5 minutes. Second 5 minutes, work on the skill exactly in whatever song you're working on. So you're going to isolate that part. You're not going to do the whole song because that'll take most of the 5 minutes. You're going to isolate that part and do it 10, 15, 20 times, trying different patterns, different coordinations if you need to. If it's not working a certain way, try a different body coordination, right? Especially so for this exact example, this big belty note, try anchoring in your back, roll your shoulders back, engage your back muscles, Try bending your knees a little bit, have that gas pedal feeling if you're sitting down. All of these things can help redirect in your body that likes to come up into here and send it back down into the ground and back down into the leg muscles, the abs that can handle it, the lower abs and the obliques especially. And then the last 5 minutes, I want you to play. This is the most important 5 minutes out of the whole thing, right? So 5-5-5 practice, 5 minutes of warm-ups that's specifically devoted to the skill you're working on, 5 minutes of that skill within the song that you're working on, isolated, 5 minutes of play. Play is the most important thing. You have to take the pressure off. You have to take that need to get it perfect and throw it out the door for 5 minutes. And just, you can sing the song you're working on, you can sing something else that sounds vaguely related to it, you can just make some stuff up. Just literally improv for 5 minutes. But the most important thing is you're letting the end of that be something joyful. If you've ever been a teacher, you know that play is the most efficient form of learning something, right? It's the most efficient way to get people to remember things is play. Make it a game, right? Think back to any game you played in school that you remember. You probably remember those a whole lot more than the textbook sections that the teacher had you read, right? So give yourself a game to play. Like, oh, what if I try and hit this note on all these vowels? Like, which one wins, right? Which one feels easier? What if I try and get my sound out to the car, 2 cars in front of me? That can be a game as well. So make it fun, make it silly, make it ridiculous. Take the pressure valve off is the most important part. Doesn't even have to be in the song you're singing, just sing a whole different song, right? Put your favorite song on the radio and sing along with that, but use the same belting strategy that you were before without pressure, right? If you don't get it, you don't get to say that was a problem. That's the whole point of the play, right? If you're in play mode, nothing is wrong. If you've ever played with little kids, no suggestion is a no. You just say yes to everything. Oh, what if this remote control was an ice cream cone? Yep, correct. That is correct. We're going with yes. So make sure you are playing at the end, and that is what your body will remember from your practice time. And most importantly, that is what will make your body feel safe to do it again. This is what creates longevity, this is what creates resilience and sustainability in practice, is if you end with something joyful and something fun, your body will remember that most of all and want to do it again. If you have a stressful practice time and you're letting your grandma shit all over you and be like, you suck, that was not good enough, that's what your body's going to remember, and it's not going to want to do it again. It's going to find all the excuses to avoid pain, right? But if you end with play, your body will be like, oh yeah, that was really fun. Let's do that again. That felt great. I want to practice again. And then you'll be like, I want to practice? Where did this person come from? Who am I? So 5 minutes of warm-up specifically devoted to 5 minutes of specific skill building, isolated in the thing you're working on, applied, 5 minutes of play. Can be related or unrelated. Just take the pressure off. Don't let that gremlin in the room for 5 minutes. And hopefully you'll find a little bit of sustainability and resilience and want to practice more often. Let me know if that works for you this week. Little bits every day, 5-5-5. You all you need is 15 minutes. You can even spread it out over an hour to 2, no problem. Just make sure you warm up and you don't over push and overdo. That is my one request. Yeah, if you don't have my warm-ups, go check them out. Also, Vocal Magic, if you like this stuff, if you want to know more, if you want to have support with this stuff, if you want to work with me, I'm here for you. Just send me a DM. I'll let you know what it's all about. But also, the info is all up there. I am uploading all of the videos for it this week, so they will all be there when you join. You can start diving in right as soon as you join. It's a membership, so it's not just a course. It is a course plus the magic of Vocal Magic, which is the group. So I highly recommend make a priority of the group sessions, the live group sessions, which happen 3 or 4 times a month. And they will be on different days. So if you have a weekly thing, you will be able to show up to at least 1 or 2. But that's the magic. That's where change happens, because you get support as well as accountability, as well as other people's feedback. And they're hearing the feedback you're getting and vice versa. And so there's osmosis from all sides and everybody grows together. And you have this singing family. And as we know, when you have a group, when you're doing something, it feels easier and you want to show up for that more, right? When you are in a show or in a band, you are going to practice and you're going to show up for that skill a whole lot more because there are people doing it with you. That's the magic of co-regulation. Everything feels safer and more fun and more exciting when you have a group to do it with. So this is your new singing family if you need a singing family. If you already have one, great. You need some skill building, you need a vocal coach, but you don't have the money for a full private session package, this is what this is for. So I created this for you. So hop on in there. What are you waiting for? Let me know if you have questions. I'm always here in my inbox, ready to answer anything you got. Yeah, I'm gonna go do some work on that membership right now, making it more pretty for you. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here, and request what you want me to talk about next time. Okay, lots of love. I'll see you soon. Boop.